friends and viewers, thank you so much for joining SalesBoxTV Marketing Leaders Webisode series. Now, this week we've invited Karthik S., Senior Director of Marketing, Automation Anywhere, a leading robotics process automation software company. Karthik, welcome to SalesBoxTV Marketing Leaders Webisode. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me here. Your energy is inspiring, and I look forward to this conversation.
And so are we. Thank you. So Karthik, your company employs software bots to complete business processes. What has been the impact of COVID-19 to your business?
No, first of all, Jason, you are right. The digital journey, as we call it, has been happening for a long time, and it's kind of hit an inflection point that has just zoomed out in a way, right? If I can use Zoom, because they are the best example of how much it has impacted us. Yeah. So we've all been preparing, not for a pandemic, but we've all been preparing for a inflection point or a strategic shift in a way. Yeah. So marketing has evolved through the years. I think Google, Facebook, they are all best examples of this. They are marketing technology companies as much as a media company or as much as a technology company. They earn their revenue through advertising primarily. So advertising and subscription have taken the fundamental business model by storm in other categories. So as you said, our company creates software bots, or as we call digital workers. And these digital workers, for the most part, work along with the human being and help them with their process tasks. So all the manual repetitive stuff that you will do, maybe copy information, scan for documents, all the stuff that you hate to do, you are letting the bot do it, and you are making intellectual decisions because of the time you get, because of the bandwidth you get. So that's the way we look at it. So it's been an interesting shift for us. One is we say, yeah, it's digital, but what does digital mean? Suddenly all your meetings are over Zoom or any other platform you use, and you suddenly need different skills. You need video skills, you need audio skills. So somebody like you, the video or audio may come naturally to you, but somebody like me who's not blessed with the voice or the face, this is a different kind of a shift. So your personality goes through a massive change. But for us as a company, because we are the center of the automation and the digital revolution, we are seeing very interesting shifts by industry or by persona, right? So if you see an industry like travel, for example, today a lot of travel companies are facing an existential threat, but they're still using automation to cancel reservations, for example. So automation is freeing up bandwidth. They're issuing coupons to their customers so that they still keep the money in the company and they still provide the experience to the customers. So even impacted industries, there is tremendous use of automation to keep the shop running despite their employees not being there. But in other industries like banking and insurance or finance, the demand has shot through the roof, to say the least. So there are deeply technology-enabled industries, and we've seen tremendous uptick in those. And for the in-shelter industry or the affected industries, the change is painful. But again, you see Airbnb emerge stronger out of this. They've changed their business model. Today, hosts are acting in different ways rather than renting rooms. So companies are making those changes, and we are helping them adopt to this new normal in a way. That's the way I see it.
Adopt and adapt, indeed, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Karthik, how has your marketing and communication strategy evolved during the last few months? And what steps have you taken as a marketing leader to mitigate any disruptions in your plan?
No, sure. And again, the first sign when the pandemic came, I still remember this, one of my event vendors called me and said, again, they use the word sir in India as a form of respect, not necessarily as a reflection of the British Raj era. But he said, sir, my business is going bankrupt. I don't know what to do. I'm running out of money. So I told him that, hey, I think this is Zika happened, SARS happened, and we'll come out of this. It's weeks, months, I don't know, but we'll come out of this stronger. So we were all positive when the first few weeks were there, and then the slow realization started that, hey, this is going to continue for a long time, and this needs a fundamental shift in strategy. So the digital marketing, or in B2B, as they say, webinars, is one shift. But the deeper things we thought about it is, does it provide any opportunities for us, right? As much as it causes pain, we are not going to get an engaged audience in a webinar or a virtual event or a masterclass, whatever you call it, because people are captive at an event. They may be distracted by mobile, but they are still with you. You can still have a face-to-face conversation. They will give you that time then and there. So that concept has completely gone away. So how do we engage? So we went through that journey, and it's not that we planned everything to the T, but there are 3 or 4 things we've learned along the way, if I may, Jason, right? So one is, does this provide an opportunity to get speakers, customer speakers, faster, because everybody is home. Suddenly everybody is not on a flight, and they have more face time, whether it's a customer or a leader. So more leadership time came in as an advantage, right? So we've done hundreds of virtual events, and we've always had 4 or 5 customers who are talking about digital workers by industry, by role. CFOs have talked about this concept called invisible finance. CEOs are talking about skilling, for example. So all the things that we were not able to do, get these customer speakers, because if you do an event, can you get 5 of your customer speakers, let's say in a remote location, and get them to a captive audience? You'll never be able to do that. If you get one, that's a big achievement. So ability to get customer speakers has definitely improved. Secondly, people thought, okay, you can target better because people are available, etc. But what indeed kind of happened is this concept of a open door conversation, right? So smaller, we call them digital boardrooms. So everybody speaks, everybody participates, because when you're getting a CXO, they all need to participate and speak. So we established a lot of digital master classes so that smaller audience, everybody speaks. We don't record it, we don't release it, we don't put it in the media. So that came into work. So customer speakers, the smaller boardrooms, and thirdly is we've invested a lot in intelligence, which we would have never done. So this locked up the newly released budgets, made sure that now we have snapshots by account, what adjacent projects they are doing. So it has made us a little bit more intelligent. We've always kept our ears on the ground, but I think both primary and secondary intel, your ability to get people's time, etc., has made us just a little bit smarter. So those 3, I would say, are positive shifts. In terms of negative shifts, there are issues, right? Because you are not able to get the face time. So we are doing surveys before and after the virtual event. So we circumvented a few of those things, but definitely the ability to have face-to-face conversation, right? So there is some innovation that needs to be done. How do we ensure that everybody who attends your virtual events are having that time with you, right? Then.
I think it's that tangible engagement that us as human beings lack.
Yes.
It's one thing being able to speak to each other via technology, which isn't always the best either, because that can sometimes fluctuate and work and not work. But it's that energy that we get to feed off people, which I think so many of us are missing.
Yes.
Unfortunately. But we move on as humans, I suppose. Yeah, exactly.
We move on. Predictions vary. We are looking at the 6 months to a year, depending on who you speak with. So this is not just the new normal, right? It is the normal.
Exactly. So how do you see COVID-19 changing the nature of B2B sales and marketing going forward, thinking of what we've just spoken about?
No, so there are 2 or 3 shifts I see, right? One is, I think we say digital at a very, very high umbrella term, but definitely I see online sales models kicking in, enabling an online sales model. Companies like Atlassian did that many years back. Gainsight did that many years back. But now I see even the traditional enterprise companies enable this model, right? So where you are seeing reviews, you are clicking and buying, no rep involved. The price is transparent, and it's a true digital sales model, and then you are enabling that with intelligent conversations in whatever way you could, and you're pushing them through a expand strategy post the initial sale. So that is one clear inflection point I see coming out of this. Two is the model of online is expanding in multiple ways. So people started with webinars, but I do see more smarter engagements kind of coming into play, like sending a video recording instead of a call, for example, to the customer, introducing the product instead of email, for example. So in every channel, there is going to be a digital innovation that will come through. There will be better models for webinar, how your presentation looks. Today there are funny backgrounds that everybody's using, but I think the whole way of presenting to your customers, how do you illustrate your demos, for example, that's going to change. And finally, 3 is how do you stay engaged, right? How do you, because people a few years back, they were sending you apps, which sends you all this notification. Now nobody installs apps. So there is just a different model to educate, nurture, and stay engaged with your customers, whether it's through industry news or through peer-to-peer conversations. So I think people say that helping is the new marketing. People say that customer experience is the new marketing. But I think along with this, enabling this digitally will mean that there is, in some way, lesser sales and more education and more marketing. So that is the shift I see.
So with those shifts, I mean, granted, there seem to be quite a few opportunities that we can look at during this crisis.
Absolutely. There are new unicorns that will be born. So we are talking about some of the pain points, like the number of reps you engage with, how do you stay in touch with customers. But somebody is going to create, with or without listening to this podcast, they're going to create a unicorn out of some of these ideas. So there is tremendous opportunities, and companies are at the forefront of innovation today, right? So take our company, for example. Without knowing any coding, you can the bot will monitor what you're doing, and you can create a bot with some of these pain points. Let's say sending email responses today is a pain for a B2C company. You can create a bot that automatically responds to your customer support queries, and without knowing any coding, you can put the bot on a bot store, and you can monetize it. So every pain point, with or without software knowledge, with or without development knowledge, you can create something today. So that is the most exciting part of it. So we are all set for a massive inflection of innovation around digital.
Wow. Certainly something to look forward to. People were saying at the beginning of the year that 2020 is the year. This is my year. And then it turned out to be not so many people's years. But then I think people are looking at the glass half full, seeing that silver lining around that cloud, which is so encouraging for all of us. Karthik, traditionally in B2B marketing budgets, trade shows, conferences, I mean, they rank number 1 or 2 in terms of budget priority for companies targeting their buyers. However, the trade show and live event space will be vastly different over the next 2 to 3 years, if not forever. I mean, how do you think B2B marketers should prepare for this new paradigm shift and still be able to connect with buyers effectively? Pretty much like what we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so I think I will reflect on the innate deep needs that human beings and buyers have, right? So the reason why is to provide that face-to-face time for those customers so that they could see what is new, they could see what new innovation is coming in, they can get educated as well as make better buying decisions. And you need to engage with them face-to-face. So that was the motto. So this is going to change completely. I think even when the world comes back, I don't know whether we'll still be wearing masks, what bio-friendly environment and norms that we need to still adhere to. So this is going to last 2-3 years from where I see it. So we need to kind of think and innovate around, hey, how do we provide a longer conversational experience to people, right? So today, webinars are failing. A lot of people have created a boycott webinars movement, for example, on LinkedIn. Some of the CIOs are doing that today. And the reason is you are making it a kind of a one-to-many conversation, right? Where you are preaching and people can ask questions either through a chat, but that is not the way it's going to cut it. You need to ensure that everybody who's attending you, they have their vantage point. You need to make them speak. So I do see an evolution to some of these conversational formats, whether it's smaller formats or larger formats. So a lot of innovation will happen around that. Second is, how do you show something instead of talking about it? Because you can talk about it, you can have a charisma when you're presenting on stage, and you can bring in, let's say, a larger than life figure, whether a celebrity or your CEO or whoever it is. But in a webinar, that's not going to be possible. So you need to show a lot more. Maybe you need to train people of how things work, and you need to show instead of tell. So show and tell. How can you do it better? So that will change. And 3 is, how do you be loved as a brand? How do you still be authentic? And authentic is a plain word. A lot of people think it's just a word that marketers use, but I think there are still companies that have been loved, whether it's Coke or Apple or even the technology side, Google or Microsoft. These companies are loved. So when you are a smaller company, how do you ensure that you are creating that experience economy, as I called it, right? So the customer experience and helping your customers is the new marketing. And how do you do that in a digital format, right? Either you're certifying people, you're making their careers get better. I'll kind of close with one powerful thing that I think through, right? It is this comment that nobody is buying your product. They are buying a better version of themselves. So people are buying your product to get promoted, to ensure that they are not fired. So it's a very personal decision somebody is making while buying your product, and you need to give it to them while engaging digitally. And that is a tremendous fundamental shift. And all that we need to think about is, how do we enable that? How do we promote our customers? That is the goal.
Wow. What a goal to look forward to, and what a close, Karthik. Thank you so much for your time. It has been incredibly insightful chatting to you today, and thank you so much for joining us on SalesBox.tv. And here's looking forward to the next few years. Yeah,
absolutely. Cheers to that, and loved your energy and loved your insightful questions. Look forward to the next few years. As hard as it is, it's going to be exciting.
Absolutely, Karthik. Thank you so much again for joining us, and thank you to everyone who is watching us here on SalesBox.tv. We look forward to seeing you again very soon.